Hey guys, so I'm tackling one more of the questions from our list for this video. And I'm just going to read what is said here, and let's dive into the conversation. I have not thought about this topic at all, and I'm just going to go from what I read. Okay. Would you say there is such a thing as justified anger, or should I ask, does God, quote, approve of justified anger? If Jesus as a human experienced and felt anger, then I can be more forgiving of myself for shortcomings of myself and work on my tolerance, love. I gotta admit, sometimes telling the truth feels good. So let's talk about anger. Let's start with the Jeshua and anger. Yes, he absolutely felt anger. He felt frustration. He felt impatience. He was a human person who had a greater understanding of his own divinity and our own divinity. But he had to come to this place, this physical expression of humanity. You literally have to have the trappings of humanity, which is based in fear. You're here to experience fear, to feel your separation from source. And anger and all of the negative emotions are fear on some level. Sometimes, it might be aggravation, right? Or it might be seething hate. It's just a different level of fear. So anger, yes, absolutely. Jeshua had anger. I had anger. I have anger now. We all have our things that we get mad about. So first of all, let's go backwards on this. Okay, so as I said, he did get angry, and then your question says, if Jesus was as a human, experienced and felt anger, then I can be more forgiving myself for shortcomings of myself and work on my tolerance / love. You are no better than he was, and so if you're judging yourself for your anger, then you are just as much judging him, because he's the same as you. So we all have anger, we all have anxiety, we all have stress, we all have things that are negative emotional states in our life. And when we go through life, we have to realize that we are all fallible. And we have to give ourselves permission to be fallible, because there's not anybody in this world who's perfect, because perfect does not exist. What do I mean by that? Perfect does not exist. Perfection is a subjective concept. What might be perfect for you won't be perfect for me. What might be perfect for them definitely was not perfect for you, right? So perfection is a subjective idea. Excellence is more of an accurate description. I'm being as excellent as I can, doing the most excellent thing I can do. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Perfection is a subjective thing. You have to give yourself permission to not be perfect, to be fallible, and realize that when you have your transgressions from love into fear, that number one, it's natural. Number two, you can forgive yourself for it. And number three, it's why you're here, to experience fears and anxieties so you can feel the separation, so that when you feel that unconditional love, you have something to measure it against, something to feel against, because you can't know something without knowing the opposite. So there's that part. Now here's the toughest part of your entire question. Would you say there is such thing as justified anger? Or should I ask, does God approve of justified anger? Justification. What is justification? That is making an excuse for something. I'm justifying why this is happening. I'm saying this is happening, and so it's happening because this made it happen, right? It justifies why it happened. One of my wives, I remember when we split, her uncle came to me after the fact. He says, I'm worried about her. And I said, why? He said, because She does bad things and then justifies them, right? Justifying. Is there a justification for anger? That is a question that each one of us must ask and answer ourselves. Is this justified? My question would be, if you're angry, is it a present moment anger, or are you still holding on to an anger from past experience and then justifying the anger because they did that to me and so I'm mad, right? And if that's the case, then I think you ought to get very present and say, I can be a reaction zero or I can be an action hero. I can be in the place where I can say I'm reacting fearfully and putting out my anger, which is a fear-based response, or I can choose to quote-unquote turn the other cheek and go, well, we're not doing that. We're moving on. But don't judge yourself for a reactive moment because you're human. It's all part of the process. Does God approve of justified anger? God doesn't approve of anything. How's that for a tough to answer? God doesn't approve or disapprove of anything. God says, create. Good or bad, create. I am the supply for your demand. And if you when you get mad or angry, you see the reasons for it because God is giving you the reasons to be mad or angry. And when you are in a really positive state, God gives you the reason to be positive. When you're in a negative state, God gives you the reasons to be negative. God doesn't approve or disapprove. That is part of the ancient teachings of this judgmental God who's over top of us saying, well, I don't approve of that. That's my God voice, by the way. It's also my James Earl Jones voice. I don't approve of that. That's a mix between James Earl Jones and Sean Connery. But if you want to hear Sean Connery, you have to, hold that money penny. Anyway, Sean Connery. When I look at the idea of justified anger, there are people who do bad things in the world. There are people who do harmful things to other people. They do all of them out of fear of something. A lot of times they do bad things because of fear of not having money. Sometimes they do out of not being loved. They do harmful things. We don't have to like what they do at all. We don't have to forgive what they do at all. We don't have to be emotionally attached to what they do at all. We can get absolutely angry when things are done to us, but it's what you do with that anger that will determine your experience. If I'm going to sit in that anger and hold on to that anger for long periods of time, I'm going to actually 100% change my future to the negative because I'm the one who's justifying the anger. There's no justified by God. God doesn't do that. It's not part of his thing. That's part of a religious tradition that God does those sorts of things. And that's not what I was taught. And you can believe it or not, but God does not judge. God just provides. We judge ourselves. We judge ourselves by our actions. What we sow, we do reap. The harm that we create, we will experience that harm. Either here or on the other side. That is the meaning of karma right there. You're going to experience what you sow. So sow good stuff. Sow loving stuff. And what happens is you get good things. Don't justify your anger. Get angry, but get past it. And that's my thought on that question. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.